Hi! Welcome to Vlogmas Day 14. We have like 10 days before Christmas Eve. And I don't quite know what to think about that. I'm gonna try to make these 10 days go by as slowly as possible because I just want to enjoy every minute of them. Yeah. So it's about 12:30 in the afternoon. It is a beautiful, sunny, cool day. There are some clouds, so they're very pretty. So I'm enjoying, although these ones straight out this window are kind of blinding me, I'm not gonna lie. They're really bouncing and reflecting the sunlight at the moment. I've got my fir and firewood candle going next to me on the desk, next to my faux flowers. I've been watching some videos. I've been editing some Instagram photos and uploading some of those. None of the new ones. Those are coming soon. But I was just putting everything into the app that I use, which is Unum, don't know how they'd pronounce it, but it lets me plan out all of my Instagram photos, and if I can do it backwards, move them around and stuff like that. So just getting everything looking how I want it. I'm trying to get as many Christmassy photos up as possible, but also trying to get more book promotion type photos up because I need to sell some books, which is definitely the hard part about self-publishing. And I feel like this probably warrants its own video. Like, I'm still trying to get my head around like what exactly I would talk about, but just kind of quickly and casually thrown into the vlog here. Writing is the easy part. And publishing, like writing is hard and it's a challenge, but that's what I'm comfortable with and what I'm familiar with. And then now that I've got Vellum, formatting is a breeze. So, copy editing, final edits, copy edits, formatting, even when it's not the most fun thing to do, it's still not difficult. It's mostly just time consuming, again, except for formatting because Vellum makes it easy and fast. Not sponsored. Wish I was. And then the act of publishing, like actually putting your book up on KDP, and that's the only one I can speak of. I don't have any experience with any other publishing platform, but publishing on KDP is like a breeze. It's so easy, it's so fast, it's so simple and straightforward. And then once you hit publish, then they do everything and you're just waiting for them to do their side of things. Once it's published and it's live and you have a book that people can actually buy, that's the hard part, because sales and marketing, that's not what I'm comfortable with, and that's not what I'm familiar with, and that's not what I know how to do. And word of mouth and social media will only take you so far. I get such lovely feedback from my readers, and I get so many comments and DMs from people who absolutely love the books, and that's great. I will take that and run with that. And I didn't get into this to be the next multi-million-dollar author or to have, 1 million+ books sold. That would be lovely, but I did this because I just have these stories in my head and they need somewhere to go. And if I can earn a little bit of money from it, from all of the work, then great. It would be amazing if this could be my full-time career one day, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I'm kind of borrowing the idea. I listened to the She Can, She Did podcast and Fiona Grayson, who runs it. And on her Instagram, the She Can, She Did account, she's talked about the tortoise and the hare, and the idea of kind of slow and steady wins the race. And so in a world that's trying to get us to be a bunch of hares and run around and be these busy boss babes all the time, it's the idea of be more tortoise. And she's got a hashtag for that. And she uses the little turtle emoji. And so it's like, That's what I'm trying to embrace. If self-publishing is going to kind of have a long-term payoff and be something that is either a viable part-time job or potentially a full-time job, it's not going to happen overnight. I've got time to learn how to do everything. I knew I was never going to learn it all in 1 year, let alone overnight. So it takes time. You know, I still check out my sales figures. Ooh, speaking of which, maybe I need to talk about this more often. I've sold 2 books yesterday and today. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. When you get into this, you're not selling even like 10 books a day or 20 books a day. Like, I'm lucky if I sell 1 book in a day. I've probably been, since December, I've probably been averaging about a book a day, a book every other day. Like, some days there's been as many as 3, other days there's been nothing. I'm going to stop rambling about this now. But if there are any other things about the kind of business side of this and kind of expectations versus reality of self-publishing, I think that can make a really interesting video. Let me know what you think. But it looks like, and I've also had more pages read on Kindle Unlimited, which is lovely. Thank you for those page reads. If you're reading me on Kindle Unlimited, the 2 books are paperbacks, so I think the paperbacks are more US paperbacks. All I see is the marketplace that a book has been sold in, and that breaks it down, ebook and paperback. So I can see, for example, that it looks like I've sold maybe 2 copies in Canada. With the Canadian, it might only be 1, because I think I always lose track of the exchange rate, but there's been at least 1 sale in Canada. I think there's been 2 sales in the UK, and then there've been a bunch of sales in the US on Amazon.com. So there's .co.uk and .ca have some sales in them. And it's been mostly paperbacks, but there have been some ebooks. And if I toggle, I'm not going to show you my dashboard just yet, but one of those paperbacks, the one on the 13th, that was actually for book 1. So I am seeing an uptick in sales of book 1, which is really nice. So there's some new readers to the series, which is really great. I probably will show you my dashboard at some point, but not today. So yeah, let me know if there's stuff you'd like to know about the business side of self-publishing. I know you guys are enjoying the writing side of it. Let me know what else you would be interested in. I'm going to try to do a little bit of editing so I can check off I've edited the photos. So I want to do at least 30 minutes of editing in my book with Tamzin and at least 30 minutes of outlining in my Cozy Romance series, but I also have, I need to dig it out. I also have this article I need to read, so I think I'm going to do that first. Yeah, got a little bit of work to do, but before I get to that, we've got our advent calendar for the day, and ooh, I'm excited for this. We've got a little pot of Green Clean Makeup Melt Away Cleansing Balm by Pharmacy. Oh, that smells really good. That's really fresh and like lime. That's what it smells like. Limes. I might put some makeup on just so I can see how this works. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. And I will pop back on later and talk to you about book stuff. So, okay. I'm gonna go now. And just like that, it's 20 after 6. Oh my gosh. And I feel like I haven't vlogged very much. So we'll chat for a bit right now, and then I need to go eat dinner because I've been making dinner. So anyway, what have I been doing today? I read that article. It took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but I got it read. I painted my nails. Of course, the color is not going to show up very much in this lower lighting, but it's the nude pink that I used from Essie before, and that Ted Baker glitter top coat. Really like that. So I've got fun festive nails again. I had some admin teaching work, not grade related, but other teaching work to do. So that ended up taking me a little bit longer than I thought, but it means I won't have as much to do tomorrow. Like, I'm pretty much done with the fall semester, but there's still just some other stuff I'm trying to get done ahead of Christmas. And then I started working on book stuff. I ended up not getting any outlining done, but I did a little bit of work on my book with Tamzin. I've started going back through the first chapter, so I'm starting to edit my side of the book. And so I feel like editing is a whole different process, especially editing in a book that I've co-written. Just to give you some insight into that process. Tamzin and I had a FaceTime call the other day. I lose track now when. We worked through a lot of issues that I was having and that we were having, and issues or just comments that had come up in the feedback from the beta readers. There's still things that we need to discuss, but I feel now like I kind of have at least the ability to start working on stuff. And so I kind of have that starting point for the second draft. Kind of excited to get working on that project again. So what I've ended up doing is I started writing it in Scrivener. So normally when I'm writing, I write everything in Scrivener. And then I put it into Word to share with my beta readers. Because they can't all read a Scrivener file. It depends. Some beta readers, I send it to them as a PDF or as a Mobi file that they can put on their Kindle. My mom, I usually send it to as a Word doc, because then she'll do track changes, because she's also kind of like my editor. And so then I work in it in Word and go through all of her comments and all of her change suggestions. With the last 2 books, I didn't really go back to Scrivener. I did all of the editing in Word. I think going forward, I will put things back into Scrivener because I hate Word. I hate Word with a passion. It always crashes. It always glitches. It doesn't automatically save things the way that it's supposed to. I hate Word. So I think I'm going to put things for the editing process, just put everything into Scrivener, even if I have to create a whole new Scrivener file for the edit draft, so that I've still got that first draft separate. And then from that final Word document, that's what I uploaded and put into Vellum and then formatted it in Vellum. But I do think now that I am using Vellum and I'm not formatting in Word, there's really no reason for me to use Word, other than to like export it or compile it and export it from Scrivener as a Word file to send to my mom. But I could still go through and make all of those edits back in Scrivener. The downside of Scrivener is you can save snapshots, and that's a whole other discussion. But, you know, with Word, I can save it as a new version. So I can have like 6 different Word files of the drafts. So I can have the first draft, the second draft, the third draft. With Scrivener, it's all kind of in there unless you take the snapshot, and then you can go back through your snapshots. But I feel like there's a way around that. And I can still export the different drafts as Word files and still have all of those different drafts. So I just think keeping it in Scrivener will be easier. So what I'm doing now with the book that I'm working on with Tamzin for the second draft, I feel like, so what we did was we each worked on it separately to start with, and then we copied each of our chapters in order into Google Docs. so that we both could see. And that way we're not having to like keep sending stuff up to like a Dropbox or cloud and then pulling it down and whatnot. It's just all there on Google Docs, and we can leave comments and make changes and all of that stuff. The problem is Google Docs is great for like my students when it's just a 1-page application letter or a 7-page report. When you're dealing with hundreds of pages of a novel, even if you're using chapter headings and a table of contents on the side, it's still a pain to get through. And the comment function is good, but it's also kind of a pain, and I lose things really easily, and I'm just wasting so much time scrolling back and forth through stuff. As a writer, and I know I'm probably in the minority, I know a lot of people in the self-publishing community who do use Google Docs, especially when they get to the editing process. A lot of editors will really only use Google Docs. And so as I've been reading through the draft and leaving notes for both Tamzin and I, Google Docs has been fine. But if it's what I'm going to be working in for the second draft, I hate Google Docs. As a creative writer, it's not my thing. I've basically copied everything. I've taken snapshots of the chapters as they are in Scrivener, and then I've replaced the existing chapters by copying the edited chapters from the Google Docs back into Scrivener. I hope that makes sense. I've put everything back in Scrivener to start editing it in Scrivener, and then as I finish chapters, I can put those back into the Google Doc. So that was the big thing I managed to get done today, was copied all of those chapters back into Scrivener with all the edits that we've already made. I didn't want to lose those. I at least got that done, and I feel like I'm now ready to start making some big changes and big edits in that project tomorrow, and I should have more time to work on that tomorrow. Today I also spent some time cooking, but I've got a big pot of chili now, which will last me for the next probably 4 or 5 days, so that'll be really good. Then my friend Jenna FaceTimed me when she got off from work, and so we FaceTimed for like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. We haven't spoken to each other in months. It's probably been at least 6 months, we figured. So we were well overdue, but she's also just finished reading book 1, and she's about to order Brave With You. And she loved book 1, and she's a friend who knows me really well, and we studied abroad in Oxford together in the summer of 2014, and so she's been to London and she's been to Oxford, so she recognizes all of the locations in book 1, and because she knows me so well, she sees all of the kind of little personal Easter eggs, if you will, all the little things that, like, if you don't know me, you wouldn't pick them up in reading the first book. You wouldn't be like, oh, I wonder where she got that from. You would just know, yeah, Andrea wrote that. She's talking about how like she really could hear my voice in the writing, which is the biggest compliment. So she knows me really well. So she, just really got into the book. I feel like those of you who don't know me in person, if you've read book 1, you now know me a little bit better than you think you do. Because it is a very personal book in a lot of ways, and I don't think I've ever really addressed that. I feel like that could be a separate video as well. It's not an autobiographical book, but there is a lot of me in the character of Eleanor, and I wrote that book. It's my fantasy. It's, if I could move to London, what would I want to happen? I was definitely writing it following certain tropes and things that I had read in the books in that genre that I already read, but then it was also kind of my what-if fantasy. And so it is a very personal story. Yeah. Anyway, we just had a really good conversation. We talked about a ton of other stuff besides my book, but as a writer, with everything that's going on, I'm not doing book club meetings and I'm not doing book events. I'd love to be able to get a bunch of local people gathered somewhere to like talk about the book. But like, I can't do that. And so whenever someone sends me a DM or texts me, or, you know, I'm FaceTiming with a friend like today, and people want to talk about it, like, I love hearing what you think about the book, about both books. I live for that feedback. And I love hearing what you loved about it and what you loved about the characters and what you're wanting for the characters, because like, I'm still getting ready to outline book 3. So like, that feedback and just hearing what it is about the books that you are loving is just invaluable to me. Anyway, I've been rambling for 21 minutes. So I think I've got enough vlog footage for today to work on, to craft a semi-decent vlog. I hope, fingers crossed, I will vlog the rest of the evening, but I feel like this has kind of become the habit. Like, I do one last chat with you guys, and then I get dinner and I turn on Harry Potter and I edit the vlog, and then I don't really talk to you again. So I need a question for today. I think, like, I've been giving you guys some book recommendations, but you've also in the past given me some really great book recommendations. So I'm really interested in either books set at Christmas time, preferably in the like romance category. So romantic books, bonus points if they're by an indie author, because I am trying to like give preferential treatment to indie authors as far as my TBR list goes. They get bumped to the top. So Christmassy books or wintry books. I feel like once Christmas is past, in January, I'm going to want to be reading potentially more kind of wintry fantasy, if that makes sense. Supernatural, like January, I kind of just returned to like things like dark, the Shades of Magic would have been perfect for January. So I do want to check out more by that author. So anything in the kind of fantasy alternate universe might be good for January. Also thrillers I like to read in January. Nothing too spooky or creepy. I don't do haunted, but just good thrillers. I'm really wanting to find more like Ruth Ware's One by One, because that just had the perfect wintry thriller, suspenseful vibes, and I'm here for that. So it's less of a question and more of a request, but give me your book recommendations, whether they be Christmas or just kind of that like wintry vibe. That would be great. Say hi in the comments. Let me know how you're doing. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. All of that fun stuff. We've still got plenty of Vlogmas left, even though it feels like it is racing by. So yeah. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!